without the direct consent of the ECB, and the ECB is currently examining the means by which the Irish government has restructured it. But the
Okay, well, Constantine, here you have a situation where private speculators gambled, they lost, they have engineered the debt transference to the public in a way we saw in Argentina and elsewhere. Michael Noonan, the finance minister, is refusing to open up the books, the unaudited books. He doesn't want to have anyone look at these books. What kind of outrageous nonsense is this, that the taxpayer is asked to pay for these debts, but they're not allowed to actually look at the books at all? And Michael Noonan, of course, a reviled character in Ireland, hated by most as being a charlatan and somebody who's very loose with the facts, the truth, and accounting measures. Your thoughts?
First of all, I would claw back a little bit in terms of your assessment of Michael Noonan. Michael Noonan is in a very difficult position as the Minister of Finance. He is clearly actually a step up from the previous Minister of Finance. He has some ability. He's certainly shown some ability. The problem with the accounts and his refusal to disclose those accounts is, as you exactly pointed out, the Irish public is expected to undertake a 40-year deal in conversion of the promissory notes of the IBRC into the government bonds, which are 40-year bonds, on foot of no accounts since the mid-year 2012. We only have those accounts, and they're only partial accounts to begin with. And also at the same time, we are asked to do so with no projections by the government as to the cost of that deal. We have to remember that the Irish government has produced absolutely no estimates in terms of what are the costs and benefits of that deal are beyond 2015. Now, I keep reminding you, this is a 40-year deal, and we only have projections for 3 years. Now, the reason why Michael Noonan is refusing, and this here I'm speculating, of course, this is kind of, if you want, educated guess, why Michael Noonan is refusing to disclose those accounts is very simple. In the IBRC Bill 2013, the legislation which established the shutdown of IBRC and the conversion of the IBRC assets, or distribution of IBRC assets and liabilities, there is an Article 13 in that bill, which very clearly gives the minister power over NAMA, which is a unique power in this case and never was extended before in any case at all. It gives minister the power to compel or direct NAMA to purchase any assets out of the IBRC at valuations directed by the minister. So in other words, that makes the accounts commercially sensitive information, because it can give a material information as to the pricing that the NAMA is paying relative to the value of that book. And the government, I think, is trying to hold back on that, simply so that people like myself and other analysts don't look at it and say, hold on a second, you are clearly overpaying for the assets.
Yeah. Let me jump in. You know, clearly there is some obfuscation there, and I'm sticking with my assessment of Michael Noonan. Going back a couple of years, I got a financial journalism award from the University of Limerick, which he hassled the university about because he's against transparency. He's against anyone telling the truth about the what I call the financial terrorism in Ireland that he's a part of and the rest of them. Let's talk about financial terrorism. Let me talk about Sean Quinn for a second. He was Ireland's richest man. He went bankrupt gambling on contracts for difference on Anglo-Irish. Explain what these contracts for difference are, and what role did the failed bet play in the downfall of Anglo, if any?
Contracts for difference are a very simple instrument, which is a leveraged buy-in into the right to own a share at a fixed price, but you don't actually hold the share. You only have the right to buy out a share at a fixed price. The difficulty there with that instrument is that, A, it is a derivative. It can be fairly complex in terms of risk pricing. It can be very complex in terms of pricing overall. And in addition to it, during the peak years, there was a very significant leverage which was attached by those who were writing those contracts for difference. So, for example, people like Sean Quinn could have probably availed well in excess of 10 times leveraging on those products. In other words, when the shares started falling in value, they got a margin call. So Sean Quinn, in fact, heavily borrowed against the insurance company that he owned at the time, the Quinn Insurance. And as a result of that, he breached the Quinn Insurance, was found to be in breach of a number of regulations in terms of capital adequacy and things like that, and liquidity provisions. And as a result of that, the Quinn Insurance was effectively liquidated and sold onto the Liberty Mutual.
So I take it like Sean Quinn is like the Irish Warren Buffett if Warren Buffett were a gambleaholic and a crackhead.
I would say that that type of a connection would be very tenuous. Warren Buffett is the fundamentals investor. He is an investor who is basing his decisions on active management of the portfolio. And as a result of that, and also on factors and the fundamentals analysis of the firms. Sean Quinn was probably in his early years when he was the true entrepreneur. He was like that. And probably the last moment of his entrepreneurial, if you want, spirit was the creation of the Quinn Insurance. Since then, since probably around, say, 2002, 2003, Sean Quinn, like the rest of the country, got caught up in the dealing and wheeling and dealing in property markets. And of course, he always had a dream to have a bank in his portfolio. Anglo-Irish Bank presented through the contracts for difference type of vehicles, presented a good target. We have to remember that the contracts for difference allow you to purchase anonymously the equities. So you do not have to disclose the shareholding you have because you, in effect, don't really own the share. You just have a right to purchase that share.
Yeah, he took an enormous bet that he lost. And he should, you know, why are we crying about this guy? He made an enormous bet, he lost, and now he wants the state, like everyone else, to bail him out. But now he is part of this Golden Circle. What is their role, and how come the Golden Circle is not in jail yet?
Well, the Golden Circle, there are several Golden Circles in Ireland. Sean Quinn, in many ways, was a newcomer when he just started into it, and he comes back from the areas what's known as border counties. Border counties have always been underdeveloped, both in the Republic of Ireland and north of the border in Northern Ireland, and they always were considered kind of, if you want, very difficult place to do business. By building a very successful, at the time, business empire, Sean Quinn was a poster boy, effectively, for both the peace process, but also for the development of the Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland and the border counties. He provided tremendous employment in those areas, and he is still regarded somewhat as a hero in those areas as well. His disastrous bets on CFDs for the Anglo, his kind of, if you want, desperate decision to use the funds from the insurance company in order to cover some of those transactions. Those are really emblematic of the overall state of the nation at the time. Speculative activity was very high. Everyone was caught up in that bubble. And Sean Quinn, in many ways, was just like a reflection of the nation on a grander scale. Now, Golden Circle. Golden Circle really is, it starts with the Maple Stand. Maple Stand is a group of the investors who were put together by a law firm in order to try to rescue the Anglo-Irish Bank when the Sean Quinn disaster started to unfold and the price of the shares started falling. They were in effect offered loans by the Anglo-Irish Bank in order to purchase those shares themselves. Sean Quinn wasn't a part of that, obviously, but Sean Quinn is a part of the other Golden Circle of Ireland, the Golden Circle of those who rule Ireland, who run Ireland, who are embedded into the corporatist structure that is Irish governance.
All right, Konstantin, we're out of time. Thanks so much for being on the Keiser Report.
Thank you, Max. Anytime.
All right, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Keiser Report with me, Max Keiser, and Stacey Herbert. I'd like to thank our guest, Konstantin Gurgiev, Professor of Economics at Trinity College, Dublin. You can find his work at trueeconomics.blogspot.com. If you'd like us to contact us, you can email us at keiserreport@rttv.ru or tweet us at Keiser Report. Until next time, Max Keiser saying bye, y'all.